last night, like right after the show. Actually, because so much stuff happened, but due to being way too tired at that time of day, time of night to do it, I figured, just do it in the morning. I'm really supposed to do this at 10, but because I want to eat, I decided to just do that first thing right now. So let's get into the Monday Night Raw Go Home show before Fastlane review. So it kicked off with Roman Reigns coming out, and he took some time to look at the crowd before going down to the ring, and then he took some time to circle around the ring a couple times, though inside the ring, just taking in everything that's going on. And it's like it didn't take as long, but even I was starting to be like, that was fine last week, but please talk now. Um, so he he said that last week was the comeback, but now it's time to get down to business. And he said the only thing that's like standing in his way right now is one man, and he calls out Seth Rollins. Now, I immediately got nervous because it's like, please tell me you're not going to take away Seth's WrestleMania moment. Please don't. Um, but Seth gets out. He's like, me? You want to see me? He walks out to the ring, hugs Roman, and then he says that before we get started with anything, just want to say that you being back is amazing. He's so happy to have his brother home. And he says that when he goes to WrestleMania to slay the beast, he's going to do it with the strength and everything given to him by Roman being back. And and then he says, like, I know what you probably want to talk about, and if there's anyone besides me who should be facing Brock Lesnar, it's you. Roman is like, I thought you would know everything, but you're wrong. And it's just like, hmm? And Roman's like, I like, and Roman just tells him that it's like, I just want you to go to WrestleMania, and all I can say when it comes to WrestleMania is good luck, my brother. Like he feels like if anyone, he's like, you have been holding down the reins of Raw since I left, and it's like, if anyone is going to take down Brock, I believe in you. So, which was totally different than what I thought he was gonna say. And I was like, oh, hallelujah. Okay, that's better. All right. Um. Then what he says, what he really wants to do is get the Shield, the band, back together one more time. And I mean, at first he asked Seth for a favor, and Favor said, yeah. And Seth said, well, anything for you. And Roman said, I want to get the band back together one more time. And Seth was like, yeah, anything but that. And then Roman's like, look, we don't know how much time we got left. Tomorrow's never even guaranteed, so before everyone goes their separate ways and everything, let's just get back together one more time. Seth says that he put that part behind him, but Roman is right. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. He is happy to have Roman back, and if that's the one thing he wants to do, then for him, he's in. Roman is happy, and he's like, okay, now we just have one more person. So he calls out Dean. Dean Ambrose comes out, and right before he can even, he's still on the entrance ramp at the top of it, and before he can say anything, at all, Elias comes out from behind and, like, just hits him with a guitar. And then, obviously, Roman and Seth come running down. So Elias just takes off to the back. Seth and Roman keep looking down at Dean. Dean is groveling in pain, trying to get up, and they keep, like, sort of touching him, just checking on him. And then finally, like, when Dean gets up, like, Seth, like, puts his hand on Dean's shoulder to be like, are you okay? And Dean, like, shrugs him off, is so annoyed and just conflicted and mad about everything that he, like, hits the, what do you call it, the Titantron or something? Like, just the top of, he, like, hits, he hits that as he's walking out. And then Roman's, like, kind of just shocked, and Steph is like, he's a different person now. And Roman just goes, who does Elias think he is? So that was interesting to say the least. I, due to being overly exhausted, I kind of got emotional at this thing, which makes no sense at all, but okay. But you know, I I'm like one of the not majority but minority who actually like would like to see it just one more time before like Seth leaves and everything. So it's like just I mean one more time as long as it's actually the last time. Then it's like okay, I'm cool with it. Like I did like the opener. It was pretty good. I did enjoy myself. I enjoyed it. It was good. The next thing was Charlie Caruso interviewed um, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley, and they just start insulting Finn, Kurt, and Braun because they are going to be facing them soon, and Kurt and Baron doesn't know how many more times they have to embarrass Kurt. Bobby goes like, Finn is holding my title, and Drew is like, yeah, I can beat Braun. So they're just like insulting them and stuff. And then Finn makes his entrance because the 6-man tag is going to start. There's a commercial, they come back, it's Finn Balor, Braun Strowman, and Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. So this match was like, it wasn't bad or anything. I'm just really tired of seeing it all the time. That's the only thing that like we see it so many times. It just like bugs me now. So I don't really have much to say about it. Of course, Leo helped at points, and like Finn was about to win with the coup de grace. Like he got the coup de grace on someone. I think it was either Baron. It was either Baron or Drew. I forget which one, but it was one of them. And Finn got the coup de grace. He went to go for the pin, and then like Leo pulled his foot, pulled either Finn's foot or the other guy's foot to the rope, and Finn was mad. He like went after Leo, like they ran around the ring stuff, and then the whole thing. And then Braun ran around the ring and slammed himself and Leo into the barricade, and like then Bobby got Finn in the ring and then laid him out with a spear and won the match. And then after that, Drew, Baron, and Bobby started attacking them. Braun was still down due to the barricade thing. Kurt got his head, like, no. Baron held up the steel steps, and then Drew, like, whammed Kurt's face into it, head into the steel steps, and then they brought the steel step into the ring, and then it was, like, Baron and Drew, I think, who did the power bomb to Finn onto the steel step, and then that was basically it. I hate it when like Leo always gets involved in this. Like it's annoying after a while, and like just this whole thing. Like I don't really have much to say about it. I'm kind of over it at this point. Honestly, I'm really over it at this point. Next, Charlie Caruso interviewed Heavy Machinery, and she said it's like, you're so happy, and I hate to ruin that, but... And of course she's gonna ruin it, because it's like, she says that the Raw teams aren't very happy for them being there. And so, they cut to a video of the Raw saying that, like, the NXT call-ups are getting all the opportunities, and they aren't, but... the ones that they're the most mad at are Heavy Machinery, and then they start insulting Otis and his weight and stuff, calling him a big thumb and everything. And when they get back, and when the video's over, you get to Otis, who looks like he's about to cry. It's like, okay, don't be this sad over it. Like, he just looks so sad. And Tucker's like trying to hurt him and trying to like hug him or whatever. And Otis just goes, that hurt my feelings. And I both felt bad for him because I love Otis, but at the same time it was like, well, don't do that. It's not that big of a deal, but okay. Um, and then Tucker just says, don't worry about it, because I'm gonna go to the McMahons and get a match with them. And then he says that Otis can get mad with the people who hurt his feelings. So that's why they're gonna have a match, because Otis' feelings were hurt. Okay. Not much to say about that. Just, I love Otis. I love Heavy Machinery, but it's like, don't look like you're about to cry over this, please. But okay. Next, Natalya versus Ruby Riott. So the match was all right. It's like Natalya got the sharpshooter on to Ruby, but then like got it onto Ruby, and then but Liv and Sarah both like tried to like pull the rope forward, so like Natalya rolled her back, and then Ruby got out of the sharpshooter and tried to roll up Natalya, but Natalya ended up like holding Ruby Riott down for a pin and won the match. And then as Natalya was walking up the ramp, hi Lacey. You know, I mean, you know what she did. You know what she did. She walked down the ramp, and then walked right back up and left. And Natalya just looked confused. I think everyone was starting to be over it at this point. Like, at least when, I guess they say, like, keep comparing her to, like, Emelina, when Emma did the whole Emelina thing. At least she talked. Lacey doesn't do anything but walk down. It's like, it's not America's Next Top Model or anything. It's like, it's WWE. You want to fight sometime? Don't know when that's ever gonna be, so, you know, okay. And then there was a look back at Batista returning last week and attacking Ric Flair. And then Stephanie is backstage, and Michael and Colin from Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update are there. And honestly, I'm worried for Colin. They're gonna be correspondents at WrestleMania, and Colin is not helping any situation, and Stephanie's just looking at Michael like, yeah, you're gonna have to protect him, get a lot of security and stuff. It's like, oh man, I'm worried for him. Just at this point, I was starting to be a little concerned for him. It's like, he's not this much of an idiot on Weekend Update. What's going on here? Like, but okay. And so, like, Michael takes Colin to the back, and Stephanie just looks speechless. It's just like, don't even know what to say about that. Okay, and now one of my favorite segments ever on this episode. Triple H came out. He said he comes out, but first they show a video message that Batista put onto his Instagram, where he says he's not going to be at Monday Night Raw because he just doesn't want to. He doesn't have any obligations. He doesn't have anything he has to do. He just doesn't want to be there. Okay. Mainly because he doesn't like Philly. No offense. Okay, Batista. He says that now that he has Triple H's attention, that they're going to do things on his terms, and that Triple H's game is over. So Triple H says that he wasn't celebrating Ric Flair last week. He was celebrating Richard Flair, or he says his name a little bit differently, but the man behind the Roman Reigns character. Roman Reigns? What am I talking about? The man behind the Ric Flair character. I'm sorry, I'm tired. But so like, and he said that Rick had been to his wedding and that he had been to some of Rick's many weddings. And he said they were there for each other with their best and worst times, and that Triple H was there with Richard when his son died, and that he was worried for Richard last year when he was in that coma because he didn't know. Every time he wasn't able to be there due to things, but every time he got a call, he was always worried that it was to say that Richard had made it. And then so he was celebrating Richard's life and the fact that he's even able to celebrate his 70th birthday, and the fact that he's even still here, and he wanted to give him one last time of being Ric Flair, but Batista completely ruined that. And Triple H is like, if you don't want to be here, fine. Like, I can go to your house if that works, or you come to mine, or I will go anywhere you want to go. Like, I will meet you anywhere. But just know that when we finally are face to face, you are not getting the game. You're not getting a character. You are getting a man. The man, or whatever, like the way you put it is like, you're not looking to the eyes of the game. This isn't character versus character. This is man versus man, and it's like, and then he's like, and then he tells Batista, he keeps calling him Dave, by the way, and he's like, you said you wanted my attention, but you got it. And then that was it. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it so much. Sorry about my hair. I can't help that. I can't help it. It's gonna stick up like that no matter what I do because it doesn't understand. Okay, there you go. Sorry. But I love that. I love it so much. Um, I loved everything about that. That's all I can say. I loved everything. And then next, Charlie Caruso interviews Stephanie McMahon backstage, asking what she thought of, after a recap of what happened between Ronda and Becky last week. She wants to know, like, what Stephanie thinks about it, and Stephanie calls Ronda laying the title down, like, unprofessional and disrespectful and stuff. And she says there's only one way to rectify it. And so Becky has been reinstated, and her 60-day suspension is lifted, and she's invited to be on Raw because tonight, or like last night, because it's like they want a hold harmless agreement contract saying that, like, because Becky isn't completely healed yet from her knee injury, that's like WWE is not responsible for anything that happens to her. And so it's like, okay. And then, but this is because at Fastlane, she's going to face Charlotte to see who's now going to hold the now vacant WWE Raw Women's Championship. Okay. And then, like, not much to say about that. Becky is back. Awesome. And then Dean is backstage, and Roman is like, sees they're in their like normal like Shield spot, and he's like, we have dressing rooms, right? Like, we don't be here. But then he was like, we can talk about anything. Like, you can talk to me about anything. And Dean's like, yeah, talk. You want to talk? Like, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I have to prepare for my match. And then he leaves, and then Roman's just kind of looking like, okay. And then it's Heavy Machinery having a gauntlet match versus 3 teams: the B Team, the Ascension, and then Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Heavy Machinery beat all these teams and win, and it's awesome, and I still feel bad for Kurt because he still has not had a win yet, but I'm happy Heavy Machinery won, and Otis got his revenge at everyone who hurt his feelings. Now, one thing is, Corey kept insulting Otis left and right, and I was starting to be like, will you please just shut up? Just stop doing that. It's getting old. But then at the end, he's like, okay, I take it all back. It's like, thank you. And then we find out that Triple H and Batista will be having a face-off, like face-to-face thing happening next week. So I'm excited to see that. Next, Michael and Colin are walking backstage, and Colin, I don't even know what to say about him at this point. Like, like Michael tells him to take off his hat because it might not be well received, but Colin is like, it's fine. And then Michael goes to the bath, says he's gonna go to the restroom, and Colin asks him if he needs backup. And Michael's like, to the bathroom? So he leaves, and Colin's like, I'm not scared. And then he walks into Braun, and he's like, oh, hi. And he's so nervous. And then he says, is any of this even real? Like WWE. Why would you ask Braun that? First off, what are you thinking? Why do you ask Braun a question like that? So Braun lifts up Colin so he's against the wall and his feet are off the ground. And he's like, does this answer your question? And I was like, oh my god, man, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? Like, okay. Actually, no, that was a later thing that happened. Sorry. That was a later thing that happened. First, they're just, like, walking through the back and meeting, like, seeing EC3, which is just confusing all around. And then they see Titus, who wants a picture with Michael, and wants Colin to take the picture, like, funny. And then No Way Jose, and, like, Michael wants to join in the conga line, but Colin's like, we have to remain unbiased, and puts his hat back on and all that stuff. And then and then next, there's a special look at the career of Tori Wilson, who's now in the Hall of Fame. So for any Tori Wilson fans, that's great. Congratulations. I mean, it was an interesting video package, I'll say that, but it's like, I don't really have much to say. But anyway, the next scene, Charlie Curtis has a backstage interview with Charlotte Flair, asking her, like, if she thinks Becky's gonna be there, and Charlotte's like, if Becky will be here, she's gonna sign, she's arrogant, and stuff, so she's gonna sign. And then Charlotte says, like, she thinks she'll be champion, but she can't beat the queen, and I'm going to beat her so that she's on the shelf for good, and then she woos and walks away, Not much to say about that either. But then, Seth finds Dean backstage in another area, and he's like, look, we need to talk. It's like, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye, but at the end of the day, you are my brother. Like, we're brothers, and if we just do this one last time, then it'll all be fine. And, like, it's like, you're my in-ring soulmate. So it's like, that was an interesting sentence I don't think I've ever heard before. And he's like, look, we could just do this last thing together and that's it and we'll be fine. And Dean says, yeah, I'm sorry, no can do. I have a match tonight and I need to do it on my own. And Seth just walks away. And then Elias is in the ring and then goes to commercial. They come back and Elias immediately is singing about how he knows he's in Philly because he's just insulting Philly. And then he says something about like Bret Hart's career ending or something in Philly, and I was like, okay, that's way too far. Just don't do that. That's too much. Luckily, Dean Ambrose comes out. They have their match. Toward the end, like, Dean's back was still killing him from the guitar shot, so he tries to go onto the top rope, and he immediately grimaces and gets back down because his back is, like, killing him. But then he gets up again, only to be hit by a knee with Elias, and Elias does drift away and wins the match. And then Roman and Seth come, like, make their way out to the ring, and they're just staring at Dean. Then there's a commercial, and they come back, and Roman and Seth get in the ring, and, like, Dean has stood up at this point. They're like, we have one more. Seth just goes, this is one more time. It's just one more thing. And Dean's like, I'm not doing anything on your time. And Seth's like, it's not my time. It's our time. It's the last time. Dean keeps trying to move, and Seth's like, hey, where do you think you're going? And they keep, like, trying to block. But then he, like, pushes past both of them and gets out of the ring and heads up through the crowd. But then Baron's music hits, and he and Drew and Bobby come out, and he's like, this is getting old, and they're insulting them. And then Drew is like, look, we were going to offer you guys a match at Fastlane, but since this is just pathetic, like, we'll just beat you two now. And so Roman and Seth go after Drew, and they're trying to fight him off, but they can't. Dean is watching this, and finally he can't take it anymore. He runs back down from the crowd into the ring and helps Roman and Seth clear out. It's like Roman gets his Superman punch on Baron and stuff, and it's cool. And then Roman and Seth do, like, the fist thing, and Dean is still walking around the ring not knowing, and Seth is like, come on, come on. And then Dean finally is like, he goes over and he just does the fist, and everyone is just elated because you get the shield one more time. And then they're like fist bumping each other, and then finally they stand there and they're like staring at Drew, Baron, and Bobby, who did not see this coming, who did not think they were about to reunite, and it's just like, they're gonna do it one more time, and then Dean goes, it's moments like this where you find out who you are. It was like in there together, and that's, again, awesome. I loved watching Dean's confliction and how he was just like, what do I do? Fine, I'm with you. Okay, let's go. It's like, okay, I don't mind. And then Tamina versus Sasha, and maybe Sasha got distracted when Nia tried to stop her, and so Bayley, of course, went to Sasha's aid. Bayley went to Sasha's aid by, like, trying to take out Nia, and then Nia, like, swung Bayley and she landed on the back of her head. Sasha was not happy with that, so she jumped down onto Nia and was, like, told her to, like, stay away from Bayley and stuff, and then she got back in the ring and got nailed with a super kick from Tamina, who took that to win the match. Great. And then you got the Michael and Cohen backstage segment that I accidentally talked about earlier. And the one part that I didn't mention yet was, like, they went to commercial break. They came back, and officials and people were, like, trying to stop Braun because he was still holding Colin up. And then Michael came over. He's like, I'm so sorry about him. I am so, so sorry. And so Braun drops Colin, and then Michael's like, okay, from now on, we go to the restrooms together. And Colin was like, he's not really going to be at WrestleMania, is he? And Michael's just like, just looking at him like, oh, God, just stop talking. Let's go. And so they leave. And then Ricochet and Aleister Black are interviewed because they're about to have a match with the Revival for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And Aleister is like, let's talk about actions. And actions are, like, stuff, like, showing you and things. And then Ricochet's like, we're humbled, but we're ready. And so he loves the fact that everyone's underestimating them because he's like, we're ready for this. And then Ricochet's music played, and then the Revival got a no job entrance, so they were already out there. But Ricochet, it's nice to see Ricochet and Aleister Black's entrances. I love it. And then they walk down, and before the first commercial break of their match, Bobby and Chad went down to, like, watch the match or something, so it's like, oh, okay. But then, and then Ricochet and Aleister got the Revival out of the ring, and they were in the ring, and Bobby and Chad just started attacking the Revival, which got Ricochet and Aleister disqualified, and so the match was over. And then Ricochet and Aleister were both, like, yelling at them from inside the ring, like, so mad about this. So Bobby and Chad got in the ring, and they started arguing. And then Ricochet and Aleister send Bobby and Chad right out of the ring, and they do, like, those flips onto the rope, and then both land in the middle of the ring. Aleister sitting, and Ricochet doing his pose, and Bobby and Chad are just like, oh, okay. And then we get to what had to be my favorite thing ever, the ending. Okay, this whole last, like, 20 minutes was awesome. Can I just say? Like, Stephanie gets in the ring holding the title and the contract, introduces Charlotte, and they like trade woos with each other for some reason, literally wooing. I don't know what that was, but okay. Then they introduce Becky, and Becky is about to sign. It's like literally, she takes the contract and she's literally about to grab the pen. She grabs the pen that Stephanie gives her, and she's about to sign, and then Charlotte just goes, "Come on, Becky, sign it, unless you don't think you're man enough to do it and stuff." And for me, I'm like, she's about to. Just shut up for 5 seconds and let her sign the thing. She's about to do that. You don't see her grabbing the pen and, like, looking for the page? You don't see that? And Becky's like, you know what? I could beat you right now. And then Stephanie's like, no, you have to sign the contract first. And so Becky signs it, and she's like, the match is official. That's great. Ronda is shown entering the arena. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And then they go to commercial break, and then they come back. And the first Ronda is like, she walks down to the ring, and she just makes a beeline for the ring. And it's like, okay. She gets in, and she's like, what are you doing, Steph? And then Stephanie's like, you relinquished the title, so I had to do it this way. And Ronda was like, I was not relinquishing the title. I didn't give up the title. I was just putting it down because they said that you need to make the right decision, and I don't like the solution you came up with. So give me back my title. So Stephanie was like, okay, here you go, champ. It's like, hey, are you happy now? Becky's in the match, and so if Becky wins against Charlotte at Fastlane, she will be part of the match at WrestleMania as a triple threat, and if she loses, it's done for her with this. And then Ronda is just fed up at this point, and she's just like, I don't know if this was scripted or she just went off the cuff here or what, but she's talking about like she has doing so much for everyone. She has been like working her butt off to represent WWE in the title and everything, but when she was at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, everyone like was cheering for Becky and then booing her, and she was tired of it, and she was tired of like everything being about Becky, and she's like, so screw the woo and the band and everything, and then she's like, no more Mr. Nice Face. I don't know what that meant, but she was like, but she like just went full heel. She just turned heel out of nowhere. And I loved it. And then she started attacking, like, she hit Charlotte once and then started going to town on Becky. And then just kept beating up Becky. Put her into arm bars multiple times. But Becky never tapped. There's a good thing. She never, like, submitted or anything. But every time that a ref, like, pulled her back, she would stop. And it was interesting. And then you got Stephanie in the back being interviewed by Charlie Caruso being like, what do you think of this? And Stephanie's like, Ronda's a loose cannon. Like, I give her what she wants, and she does this. Like, she's lost it. And I hope that Charlotte and Becky give her what's coming to her at WrestleMania. She doesn't care if it's Charlotte and Ronda at WrestleMania or Triple Threat at WrestleMania. She can't wait to see it, because she... and stuff. And then it ends with Ronda pointing at the sign, and then looking at Becky, who is being helped by an official, and that is the episode. The ending was insane. I loved it. And... I just loved it. And I also cannot wait for Smackdown Live tonight, since it's the go-home show, too. Even though there was, like, a scary moment at a house show where I guess Asuka got dropped on her head by Mandy Rose. Even though Asuka made a tweeted and said it was her back, not her. It was, she doesn't have a concussion, nothing's wrong with her neck, it's just she hit her back kind of hard, and I guess that, like, messed with her a little bit, but she tweeted saying she's fine. So that's good. So I'm still excited to see what goes on SmackDown Live tonight. But the Raw was actually had some high points that I really enjoyed, and that I can't wait to see what goes on at Fastlane now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I will see you tomorrow with the SmackDown Live review. Bye.